everyone, today we're diving into the one thing that powers literally everything you do, your metabolism. Think of it as the silent, invisible engine that runs your body. It affects your energy, your temperature, and, yeah, even your mood. So, let's get into it. So, let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like you're just constantly tired? Or maybe you're the person who's always cold, grabbing a sweater when everyone else feels totally fine. You know, these things are so common that most of us just kind of shrug them off. Just a busy week, right?
But what if they're not random? What if these are actually little clues your body is trying to send you? Little breadcrumbs all leading back to one single central system.
And that system? It's your metabolism. The best way to think about it is like your body's own personal engine. It's this amazing process that takes all the food and drink you consume and turns it into the fuel you need to just, well, live, to breathe, to think, to walk around. And when that engine is running smoothly, you feel fantastic. But what happens when it starts to slow down a bit?
Well, that's exactly what we're about to investigate. It turns out your body leaves a trail of evidence. So let's put on our detective hats and follow 7 of the most common and often totally missed clues that your metabolic engine might be running a little on the slow side.
Okay, our very first clue is something so many of us just accept as a part of modern life.
You're just always tired. And I'm not talking about I need my morning coffee tired. I mean that deep, dragging fatigue that sticks with you all day, even if you got a decent night's sleep. When your metabolism slows, that process of turning food into fuel becomes less efficient. Your body is literally creating energy at a slower pace, and that can leave you feeling completely wiped out. All right, next up. This is a clue you might notice when you look in the mirror. Your skin is dry, all the time. And look, we're talking about more than just a little bit of winter dryness here. Your thyroid hormones are major players in setting the speed of your metabolism, but they also help keep your skin cells happy and hydrated. So if things slow down metabolically, it can show up on the surface as skin that's constantly dry or dull.
Clue number 3. Now this one can be one of the most maddening.
You're gaining weight and you can't figure out why. It is so frustrating, right? You feel like you're eating right, you're trying to stay active, but the number on the scale just keeps creeping up. Here's what's going on. With the slower metabolism, your body is simply burning fewer calories, especially at rest. That energy conversion is just less efficient, which means more of what you eat can end up getting stored as fat.
Okay, our fourth piece of evidence is all about your body's internal thermostat.
You feel cold a lot. See, your metabolism is basically your body's furnace. All those chemical reactions that create energy, they also generate heat as a byproduct. So if your metabolic rate drops, it's like someone turned the thermostat down a few notches. Your body's producing less heat, and that can leave you feeling chilly when nobody else is.
On to clue number 5, which might just explain some of those intense afternoon snack attacks.
You're dealing with some serious cravings. And what's so interesting here is that this could be a direct signal from your body. If your metabolism isn't doing a great job of creating a steady supply of energy, your body might just send out an SOS for a quick and dirty energy source. And what does that look like? Yep, cravings for sugary and high-fat foods.
All right, our 6th clue takes us from the purely physical into the emotional realm.
You're noticing more mood swings. And let me be clear, it is not all in your head. When your fundamental energy levels are low and you've got potential hormone imbalances happening because of a sluggish metabolism, it's really no surprise that you might feel more irritable or just off. Your physical reality has a huge impact on your mental state.
And for our final clue, let's go right to the center of it all, your digestive system.
You're having some digestive troubles. See, digestion and metabolism are like a tag team. Digestion breaks down the food, then tags in metabolism to convert it to energy. But if metabolism slows down, it can create a traffic jam. The whole system gets backed up, and that can lead to things like bloating or constipation.
Okay, so we've laid out all the clues, but that just brings up an even bigger question, right? Why does this even happen in the first place? Let's get into the backstory. The speed of your metabolism isn't just one thing. It's a whole mix of factors. Some of them, like your genetics, are pretty much set in stone. But then you have a whole bunch of things like your diet and your lifestyle. We're talking activity levels, sleep, and stress that you have a ton of influence over. And then there are other big players like your age, your sex, and of course, certain health conditions. So let's talk about body composition for a sec. You might hear that females tend to have slower metabolisms than males. Now, it's not a hard and fast rule, but it often comes down to differences in body composition. The real key here is muscle mass.
Muscle tissue is just way more metabolically active. It burns a lot more calories, even when you're just sitting around, compared to fat tissue.
And what's the deal with age? Well, for the longest time, the popular wisdom was that your metabolism just takes a nosedive after your 20s. But it turns out newer research shows that's not quite right. It's actually remarkably stable for most of our adult lives, from our 20s all the way to our 50s. The really noticeable, natural slowdown usually doesn't kick in until after we hit 60, and that's often because of losing muscle mass and other changes happening right inside our cells.
Okay, we've gone through the clues, we've looked at the backstory, and now we get to the most important part, the action plan. How can you help get your body's engine running at its best? Well, the good news is you have way more power here than you might think.
Let's break it down into a simple 4-step plan. First up, your diet. Make protein a priority. Your body actually uses more energy just to digest protein, and this is huge. Make sure you are eating enough food. Slashing calories too much can actually make your metabolism slow down to conserve energy. Second, activity. Resistance training like lifting weights is your absolute best friend for building that calorie-torching muscle. Third, sleep. This is totally non-negotiable. Bad sleep messes with the hormones that control hunger and energy. And finally, number 4, manage your stress. Being chronically stressed can send your whole system into chaos, so finding healthy ways to relax is absolutely key.
So, the next time you feel that weird fatigue or that sudden chill you can't explain, just remember, it might not be random. It might be a message. Your body is talking to you all the time, sending you signals about how that internal engine is doing. The real question is, are you ready to start listening?